Welcome to the Flexile tutorials on filters. This is part 3 dealing with subgrouping. You may immediately notice that I am using my iPhone here instead of the iPad, and that's because I'm using my own personal database to demonstrate subgroups. I believe this is a good example of how to use them, so we're going to do something a little different and try it with the iPhone here. Now, subgroupings allow you a more advanced type of filter, and I'm going to demonstrate that here. We are looking at my to-do list. In fact, it's one single table that I have used filters and views to, in a sense, make a bunch of subtables out of it. So for example, you're currently looking at my groceries, and it's fairly simple. The tag on this, as you can see, I've got a few different fields here, and over here I've got a tag, and that tag has to equal groceries. Also, the field has to be not completed or not done. So, as you can see, if I tap on peanut butter here, it goes away because it no longer matches the filter that I've got applied to it. Now, I've got several different to-do lists in here, and I'm going to use features here because it gives a good example of how the subgrouping works. And for a record to show up in this, so if I open up this, I'm going to show you the different requirements for a record to show up in this subgroup or in this view or a filter, so to speak. The first thing is, as before, done has to be, you can't have that checked. It can't be completed. The second thing is, it has to be in the project called Flexile, which makes sense. The other thing is the tag has to either be a minor feature or a major feature. So for example, you can see it's a major feature here, and I've got minor features up there, and I'm sorting by that field so that I've got them minor and then major. And so you can see that OR expands out the records I'm including, and I'm doing that using a subfilter because, well, let's just take a look actually. It might be easier to just show you. So in here I have major minor features, I have not done, and I have a field called, or a field that's project is equal to Flexile. These are all connected using the AND operator, so the OR operator is not checked. And I'm going to move this up here because it'll make a little more sense if I start from there. So these are each groups that I've added, and I've done that by tapping on the plus sign, hitting Add Existing Filter, and then selecting the filter that I want to add. And this group, it essentially matches a field and says that it cannot be done. Okay. This group, though, is a little different, and in this group it matches records that are either major or minor features. So if I go back and go into major minor features, which is right here, you can see I have two fields in there, and the tag has to be major or minor features, and I'm connecting them using the OR operator. And this is important to note that if I go back over here to the main filter here, it's important to note that these subgroups use their own operators. So starting out, move that back up. In order for a record to show up, it has to be not done, and it has to either be a major or minor feature, and the project has to be Flexile. And because I'm using an AND operator, all of these are combined using the AND, which means a record has to match in one of those three items. And because this item, for example, is a subgroup that uses an OR, that actually expanded out the records that I was matching to, because they could be major or minor features. I just want to make that clear that each subgroup uses its own operator. Each filter, I should say, uses its own operator. And the subfilters underneath will, again, use their own operators for the fields that they have within them. And you can nest You can nest filters as deep as you want, adding them to one another. Most of the time, you're probably not going to need to go above, one level deep with one, filter underneath the other. Now, there's one last thing that I want to show you, and that is this main filter. Now, by default, it's checked, and what that means is that a main filter is going to show up in this list for selection. Okay, so this list is may not contain everything, may not contain all of your filters. So, for example, this major minor here, I don't use that except as a subgroup, and because I don't want it showing up in the list, cluttering things up. So I've removed the main filter checkbox here. And because I've removed that, it's not showing up in here, and it just makes my selection a little easier and allows me to add a bunch of subgroups without having to worry about them being cluttered up in my interface. Okay, so that is essentially how subgrouping works. There's a lot of experimentation you can do with it. It essentially allows you the ultimate in flexibility to match which records you want to show up. I use it for, to split out my to-do lists. You can use it for almost anything, really. So that concludes my description or my tutorial of subfilters. I hope it makes sense. If not, please let me know. I've tried to make it as clear as possible, but it's sometimes you don't always do a good job as you think you do. So I am very open to feedback. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.